Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. Make sure that you rate, review, subscribe wherever you are. If you're listening to our audio version or if you are watching on YouTube. And don't forget that we also have Instagram and TikTok where we post little clips. I've been having so much fun getting the clips, my favorite parts of the episode onto TikTok. So it literally means the world to me, and it helps the podcast more than you know, and it'll take just a few moments of your time. So thank you if you've already done this. And I mean, it's a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to the weekend, and I don't have too much planned, which does make me feel really, really good, especially because the last couple of weekends have been so busy, so crazy, and just running around. So I'm looking forward to this weekend of chilling and hanging out. If you're watching on YouTube, comment down below, what are you doing this weekend? I would love to see what you're up to. Now, without further ado, Fridays are our Ask the Gals segment. So if you have a submission, a situation, a question that you want answered on the podcast, you can DM me at Golden Hour Drip on Instagram, or you can shoot me an email at goldenhourdrip@gmail.com. I have 3 questions for us today. And the first one: I'm feeling super overwhelmed balancing work and personal life. It feels like everyone needs more and more from me. I'm getting extremely frustrated, and it feels like simple things are now setting me off. I know I'm acting like a total bear, but my nerves feel frazzled. I feel like we've all been there before, where it doesn't have to be this huge mean thing that someone says to us. If we are in a state of panic or a state of overwhelm, it could be literally the smallest little thing that's going to set us up for failure. And then we explode, and we might speak to others more harshly than we intend. And it's just because our entire body, our cortisol levels are so high, and it's impacting how you react and talk to other people, right? We've all been there. It doesn't have to be this super big thing. If we think back to childhood, if you had a bad day at school and your mom was like, oh, will you pick up your lunch pail? And I'm like, no, I literally had the worst day, and I lash out or I sob. Even as an adult, there can be times where you don't mean to react so harshly, or, you are just not having a good time, and it feels like it's one more thing. It's one more thing for someone to ask a task of you, maybe to do laundry, and it all boils down to not feeling heard or feeling seen. If people at work, if it's one thing after another and there's so much going on and so much to do, it can feel overwhelming, but also not supported. People aren't being conscientious of your feelings. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed at work and it's okay, I need this done and this done and this done, maybe you talk to your boss and say, hey, what are my priorities? Because I am struggling to get all the tasks completed, or I'm feeling really overwhelmed with the deliverables or the expectation that it has. Have a conversation with them and see if you can redelegate some of those tasks to a different person on the team, or if they can say, you know what, you're right, we're going to take a couple of these things off your list, we're not going to prioritize those until next month. Having that open line of communication is really important. If your boss, if you go with them with questions, or you're feeling overwhelmed and they're like, you know what, I can't do anything about it. We're short staffed or this or that, and you're just going to have to, suffer through it. Might be time to start looking for another job. Might be time to look at, LinkedIn, anywhere, papers, at friends of friends, anything, to start maybe navigating and transitioning to a new career. But that can be super overwhelming and uncomfortable. If there's no way possible that you're going to be able to quit your job and move to a next career or next place of employment, I would start mapping out and carving out time for yourself. That way you already feel like you've taken care of you, whether that is a little extra time getting ready in the morning, or if you have a really relaxing nighttime routine, going somewhere on your lunch break for a walk, grabbing a cup of coffee, anything that is just going to chill you out, calm your nerves, and reset your body. Because when we are in a state of like giving, we don't feel like we're taking care of ourselves or that nobody's taking care of us. So looking from it of a perspective, okay, what can I give myself? Because nobody today is going to give it to me, right? Like if you're in customer service, it feels like all the customers are yelling at you and they want you to fix their problems. Well, first take care of yourself. Buy yourself a great cup of coffee before work. Go for a walk. Maybe you listen to your favorite podcast, Golden Hour Trip. You read a book, like any of those things that make you feel good. I know those sound like so boring. Those are my favorite things to do. I love to make myself a coffee. I love to go on a walk. I love to listen to a podcast or an audiobook, anything that is going to like reset and recuperate. Another thing that I've been doing is I have this like little acupuncture-esque mat. It has these like plastic knobs that are like pointy, and in the morning I've been laying on it. It helps with like blood flow and circulation. And I do like a little meditation. So I roll out the mat, I lay on it for 20 minutes. It's not like super comfortable at first, but soon like the pressure points are relieved and I can take a deep breath, and I just feel really relaxed after that. So maybe it's something of a self-care in that aspect, or schedule yourself a massage, or if you really love getting your nails done, go get your nails done, spend a little extra to make them perfect, spectacular. Then when you're on the phone, customer service, and they're yelling at you, you can look at your fingers and be like, I'm worth it. I love my nails. I don't know. Any little quirky way that's going to get you through the day. If you have to stay in your job, take it. You got to do what's best for you. And sometimes it's those little simple things that can get you through a period of time that's like super stressful. But know that this will not last forever. You will be put on the path that is perfectly for you. Take care of yourself and just implement a few things in your routine that are going to help calm you down and give yourself a little bit of work-life balance. Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that the Golden Hour Drip podcast has a monthly newsletter. You'll find podcast updates, upcoming events and information, and bonus content. If you haven't already, click the link in the show notes and join today. Now, back to the show. I've never been on a fun vacation anywhere. The only travel I've done is for work or someone's wedding. I want to travel somewhere fun, but don't know how to figure out an itinerary or a budget. Maybe overseas? How do you plan your trips? I feel like when you are about to plan a trip, you have to get in the mindset of, okay, the first time I go to this place, it might not be perfect. I might not get to see everywhere I want to see, and that's okay. We can go on a second trip, maybe in a couple years to revisit that area. I personally have never used a travel agent. But I know so many people do use travel agents and they find great deals, and they put together a package within your budget and you get to go to like really cool places. I think for me, for traveling, it's a little like confusing if it's a different country on like where the best places to go are and what is safe and like what is not going to be a scam. So if you are pretty serious about like going overseas or going somewhere and you're feeling overwhelmed with it, that people literally do this for their job, right? Like they get paid to be travel agents and to literally curate the perfect vacation. So if you can afford it, and usually like the fee And the package that the travel agent like puts together usually is more affordable than if you would have tried to like do it yourself, especially like for your very, very first time. Now, if you're looking for just like a weekend trip or something super short, and more on the like lower cost side, I would start with like the surrounding states or even the state that you're in, a staycation, if you will, like to go somewhere in the state that you live. Maybe it's your own town. Maybe you book like an Airbnb in your town. Maybe it's like just a state over so you can easily drive there. I would just start small and not overwhelm yourself. There's so many different TikTokers, YouTubers, content creators who will go to certain areas and they will list out their entire itinerary, everything they did, what they spent. So I would find one of those creators that you think is really, really cool. And then just like whatever they do, book it equivalent, right? Like see, oh, they went to South Carolina. I really want to go to South Carolina. Where are some of the places that they stayed? What did they do? I would just take it slow, right? And for itinerary, the biggest thing that I see with people planning a trip is they always like try to overbook themselves and try to do too much. So it's like, okay, 6 a.m. we're waking up. By 6:30 we're gonna be dressed. 7 o'clock we're gonna eat breakfast. Then 7:30, like it's so overwhelming. And it's like, okay, we cannot do all of that in this short little trip. Or giving yourself some downtime to enjoy the spot that you're at instead of, okay, Uber to this place, then we're going to get out and walk to that place and then this place. And then you're not actually like taking it in. And I also think there's a distinct difference between going on vacation and going on a trip. If you're going on a trip, it's like a tourism trip. You're seeing everything. You are checking off a list. A vacation is where you literally sit and rot, whether it's a cabin in the woods and you're enjoying the scenery, or you're going to the beach and you are literally rotting on the sand all weekend long. You need to decide, is this a trip or is this a vacation? And then plan your itinerary around that and the activities that you will actually do. Budget is really, really important. A lot of times we think, oh, it's not going to cost that much. But then it's like, okay, we have the hotel, we have travel, we have all the places we're going to eat. Maybe you go on certain excursions or, planned activities, and those will cost like a little bit more. So I would definitely just pull out your computer or your phone or whatever. Where are some of the places that you're interested in going? See what's most popular at those spots. See what you're interested in. Find your budget and kind of map it out. And if that is not doable, there's always a travel agency that you can look into that will absolutely help you on your way. It seems like I always make plans to hang out with friends, but no one else puts the effort in to plan something for the group. How do I put the planning on someone else for a few? Okay, I feel like this goes back to, actually, it's a little bit of both questions. The first one was about being like overwhelmed at work and feeling like so many people are taking from you. The second one was planning like a trip. So this third one, it's a little bit of both. I think it's super annoying when your friends always rely on you to make the plans or have the idea of what you're going to do. And yes, like if you're becoming frustrated about this, that's annoying, right? But if you wanted to put like a spin on it and look at it from a different perspective, you can think, oh my gosh, like my friends trust me. They think that I plan really fun events. And so they always want me to coordinate it. But on the other hand, like that's annoying. You might feel a lot of pressure. And the worst thing about planning any sort of get together is people will, kind of complain if it's not exactly what they want. So if they have no skin in the game, if they are, only there for the ride, if you've ever planned like a spring break trip or anything like that, you'll set up like the things that you're doing. And then literally those people who signed up to go for the trip or paid the things will be like, oh, like, I don't want to do that. Like, that wasn't my idea. That's not something I would have signed up for. And ultimately, like, if they don't have any skin in the game or they don't feel like they picked something, then they can have like a negative attitude or not want to go. Same with like supper ideas. Like if you plan everything, you're like, okay, we're going to this restaurant. Then you get to the restaurant and they're like, ooh, like I don't like anything on this menu. Like, why would we go here? And that's like more of the negative side of like planning things for a group or planning things for your friends, because it is hard. And I would definitely put a couple options on there or be like, hey, like this weekend I'm super busy or I have a lot going on at work, but I'd love to get together with you guys next weekend. Does anybody have any ideas? And if they like do come up with ideas like, oh yeah, like let's go here, let's do that. That might be the prompt that they need, is just like, hey, what should we do? Like, have you asked them? Have you said, hey, like, what do you guys want to do? Can you plan something? Because sometimes they might not even know it, or they might have the wish to plan something, right? Like they might think, oh, like I would love to plan, but it seems like Logan always has like an idea of what the group should do. So ask, like say, hey, does anybody know what they want to do this weekend or next weekend, or should we plan a trip anywhere? If that prompt is not working, if they're like, okay, literally, I don't know. They might say that. They might say, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Then maybe it's like a question of, are they really interested in being your friend, or are they only around because you plan everything, or you're inserting yourself constantly in their life, right? Like if you're saying, oh, let's hang out, let's do this, but they really don't have like positive intentions, or maybe they're just not making plans with you, maybe they're making plans with other people, and so one, that can be a little hurtful. But maybe start looking for a friend who likes to plan and do things just like you, who will put in the extra effort. I feel like friendship is very similar to dating. You want someone who is wanting to be your friend as much as you want to be their friend, and you both actively are putting into the relationship, and you're both planning things, you're both excited about things. And when it becomes uneven, or one friend's not wanting to hang out as much, or the schedules don't align, or work or whatever, that's when it can feel like a little like sad, or you can feel resentful. So it's literally just like dating. When you feel like, oh, you're really into this person, but they're not as into you, then you're like sad about it. But we have to remember, like, friends have lives, and it might not be on you. They might have like a lot going on themselves. So if you feel like, oh, I'm always trying to like plan these things and nobody puts any effort to plan events either, it might just be a season in their life where they are really, really busy, or they have other things going on, or maybe like family things. So I wouldn't take it to heart. I would definitely like prompt them in some way, like, hey, like, what are you doing? But I also would check in like the amount of times you guys are hanging out. Like if it's more than once a month, like that's kind of, I don't know, or more than twice a month. Like I feel like that's a lot, especially during summer. We have like family things and, other obligations. So I would just not take it to heart. Plan something fun for yourself. Like I think solo dates are so underrated, and taking yourself out on a date or doing something really fun that you want to do just for you can be like a great way to look at it. And then, I mean, it's you and you, baby. Like nobody can get mad, and you know for sure they will come. So hopefully that was helpful for planning the trips. Hopefully your friends will step up and plan a couple of events so that you feel appreciated as a friend as well. So those are my submissions for this week. If you have a submission and would love to hear it on the pod, let me know. You can email me or, DM me on Instagram, both Golden Hour Drip. But yeah, if you thought my advice was, not the same advice you would give, I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments. Would you give the same advice? I feel like any sort of opinion based, take is sometimes hard because I only get some part of the story. I'm not getting the whole story. And I think that it's so situational, because if I had more background or more context, like my, opinion or my advice might be a little different. But I also feel like people are scared to state their opinion because they're going to get like roasted on the internet of, oh, like this is my stance, or this is what I want to do. And then the comments roll in and they're like, you are totally off or whatever. I think that's the problem with like it being the Wild West on the internet, and everybody is going to have conflicting takes anyways, because like one group of people might like totally agree and be like yes, 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 and then other people will be like, no, this is totally wrong. You are so off kilter, like you don't know what you're talking about. And honestly, I just always try to take like positive intent with this and be like, oh, like this is what I would do in this situation. But obviously everybody has different like opinions, life stories, and where they're coming from. And I think unless I am you and you are me, there's no way for me to know every single thing that you've gone through, or like even me. You don't know everything that I've gone through, or even like people close, like our partners. So it's always important to understand everyone might have a different opinion. So thank you so much for listening to this week's podcast episode. I post every Monday and Fridays. Monday are long and Fridays are short. See you in the next one. Bye.